Welcome back, Heels and Quads Media here on YouTube. I'm Tommy, and I'm back to wrap up the Motley Crue series. All the videos have been filmed, all the videos have been released. This is just a compilation. So if you've already watched all of them, this is nothing new other than this intro. I wanted to put it all together, compile it as one video because it worked for the Kiss video. It'll work for Motley Crue. It's just to make it easier for everybody. Maybe somebody new comes into the channel, finds these videos, subscribes. Love that. By the way, if you're watching this for the first time, like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me your rankings of all 9 Motley Crue video albums. Give me your list. Here we go. Motley Crue, 9 to 1. Worst to best. Least favorite to most favorite. However you want to word it. Here we go. Motley Crue.
Running free, a little bit better than it used to be, 'cause I'm alive. She got the look that kill. Oh, sweet home. He's the one that called back the feel good. He's the one that makes you feel alright. Weekend's holiday. He's so afraid to ask. Boys going to hell and high heels. Pray to of Los Angeles!
Number 9, Saints of Los Angeles, released June 24th, 2008. I remember when this album came out, I was huge into Motley, and I just seen them on their reunion tour in 2005. I saw them again on Carnival of Sins in 2006, where I actually got to meet Tommy Lee, who was awesome. Coolest celebrity I've ever met. Didn't have to pay for it. Just got to chat with him for a few minutes after the concert back by the tour buses. I bought it the day it was released, listened to it nonstop for probably about a month, and then just kind of put it away. I do like it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. Just up against everything else from Motley, it just kind of feels like a nostalgia record. There's a handful of songs that sound fresh and sound Motley, but a lot of it just seems like what kind of older bands were doing and still doing now. It's just kind of nostalgic. Musically, the album is fresh and up to date, but I'm not going into who or doesn't play on it because DJ Ashba last year said that he played all the rhythm parts, didn't make play at all on it. I don't know, I wasn't there in the studio. But Tommy Lee on drums, you can tell it's him. He's got that sound. He knocks it out of the park. Vince's vocals, I know people, dog on him for his voice live, but in the studio, I'm sure there's effects on it, but he sounds great. Specifically on Down at the Whiskey, speaking of nostalgia, he sounds fantastic. I know, like I said, I don't know how many effects they put on it, but he sounds great on that song. So even though it's my personal least favorite Motley album, sound-wise, it's fantastic. Plus, it did peak at number 4 on the Billboard 200. All 3 singles got decent radio play, but all 3 did well on the mainstream rock chart. Saints of Los Angeles, the song was even nominated for a Grammy. So with that being said, least favorite track, White Trash Circus. While it was the 3rd and final single for the record, it feels repetitive. The "We're the voice, we're the voice, we're the voice in your head, we're the trash," that chant, it's repetitive and it just kind of gets on my nerves. But the music sounds badass on it. I'd skip it from time to time. Like if it just came on in shuffle, I'd probably skip it. Favorite track? You guessed. The first single, the title track, Saints of Los Angeles.
Saints of Los Angeles!
If I had a choice, I would have put the single edit on the album. It wasn't my choice, obviously, so they went with the gang vocal with Josh Todd from Buckcherry, Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, James Michael from 6am, who also helped produce this record, and Wright with Nikki, and Chris Brown from Trapped. Single version's 20 seconds shorter. It's straight up, to the point, rock and roll. Guitar's crunchy. Drums are heavy. The verse sounds like it's got a little bit of a Dr. Feelgood rhythm to it, which honestly I never thought I would hear again from Vince. Like, he's punching it. Honorable mention, The Animal in Me. While it's a slower rock song, it's not really a ballad. But while people usually just trash Vince, like I've said before, his singing on this is incredible. I don't know what they did to his voice in the studio, but he sounds great. Maybe it's just from not having to run around, because he does run around quite a bit on stage, or at least he did then. I don't know about now. And the guitar solo, which is also awesome. The drum fill from Tommy is great. It's just, wow, it's there. And Tommy just, like I said, I always feel like I'm just putting him over, but he's a fantastic drummer. I don't think he gets his due as a great drummer. At number 8 on my list, New Tattoo, released July 11th, 2000. While bands seemingly have lineup changes all the time, including Motley Crue, who already had one with Vince leaving, now after they released their greatest hits in '98 and toured the compilation, Tommy Lee found himself in jail over a personal issue, which I'm not going to get into here. It's widely publicized, the Hulu documentary about it. I'm not discussing it here. It's about the album, just giving a preface. Anyway, Tommy left the band to pursue his solo project, Methods of Mayhem, and his inability to get along with Vince, and vice versa. So, Motley Crue also had just left Elektra Records, forming their own record label, Motley Records. The band hired former Ozzy drummer Randy Castillo to replace Tommy, whose performances on albums like The Ultimate Sin, my personal favorite Ozzy record, and No More Tears are proof that he is no slouch. It really sucks we didn't get to see Randy on tour for this record, may he rest in peace, but I digress. This album is no different as far as Randy's playing versus those Ozzy albums. Tommy Lee's a fantastic drummer, but even without him behind the kit, these albums don't lack in that department. I feel this album's common negativity, it was another example of a failed trend. Maybe it's the album's artwork that turned the fans off? I'm not sure. Nikki Sixx said in the past that this should have been their follow-up to Dr. Feelgood. I don't know about all that, but I actually like this album. Maybe it has to do a lot with the fact that the Lewd, Crude, and Tattooed DVD was one of the first things I owned from the band, maybe outside of Dr. Feelgood. I don't know. The sound and production from Mike Klink is pretty spot on and stellar. If you want an album to not have to overthink and just relax and enjoy simple songs with a great drummer, great guitar work from Mick Mars, who is a legend, that word gets thrown around a lot, but I'll say it here, I suggest you give it another try or even a first try. Least favorite track, Porno Star. Like many of my least favorite songs, it has to do with the title or the lyrics. The music sounds good, but the lyrical content, like, and I quote, .com, webcam, super scam, triple sex, cyber sex, shoot my rocks on the box, peeping Tom on the net. Woof. And the na-na-na-na-nas, what is this, a theme to Daria? The title alone dates this one. Great solo, punky riff, great drumming, but it's a no from me, dog. Favorite track, I wish I could pick White Punks on Dope, but it's a Tubes cover. It's fun and features a talk box, which is right up my alley. But I'll go with Hell on High Heels. Yes, I know it's the single. But it's Motley in a nutshell. Drums sound killer, Mick rips, Vince sounds great. If Nikki does indeed play bass on that, again, not getting into that either, but it has those fun little lines that just keep it in the mix, especially in headphones. I wish the video was more of a girls, girls, girls vibe, but the animation is fun, and I'm nitpicking. It's about the song, not the video. Honorable mention, I'm gonna give it to the title track, New Tattoo. It's cliche and tacky, but overall it's a fun ballad with lyrical content that I think everybody's went through at some point in their lives. Even you tough metal guys that are watching this, don't fool yourself. I mean, you can keep lying to yourself, but you're only hurting yourself. It's got simple riffs, and of course, as every ballad has to have, great acoustic work. Vince really sounds great. I have to keep driving that home on these rankings because I think people forget that he was a good singer at one time. At number 7, Generation Swine, released June 24th, 1997. First off, let me say this album is in no way as bad as most people say. I think it would have been much better had John Corabi sang on it. And that's not a knock on Vince, whose valiant effort just doesn't blend with the musical style that Motley had transformed into while he was gone. While Corabi is only credited on 2 songs, his fingerprints are all over this record, as they began work on it well before Vince Neil's return. I often think about Motley's self-titled 94 record as not only the predecessor to this album, but also Nikki Sixx's side projects, Brides of Destruction and 6am, as he would dig deep and use personal experiences in his lyrics and musical styling. Also, maybe had Bob Rock stayed on to finish, maybe it would seem a little less like a musical buffet. I think it's cool that both Nikki and Tommy branched out and each sang on a couple of tracks, but to that same effect, producer Scott Humphrey, from what I've read, seemed to not get along with the band, and that hurts this record, as well as mixed guitar playing and input, which is crucial to the Motley Crue sound. It's a decent effort, and while not great, I remember seeing the advertisements and Sam Goody promoting the album, and always would want the poster hanging on their wall, because I thought them wearing pig masks was ridiculous. Maybe one day, I'll make an effort to seek one out. Least favorite track, Beauty. While I do like some of Tommy's solo singing, yeah, I said it, I'm not really a fan of this song. Too much going on and feels like a mess. However, we would get the line HIV VIP again on the track Hell on High Heels on the Tommy-less new tattoo 3 years later. Favorite track, Glitter. Yeah, whatever. I actually like this song. Happy to hear it live when I saw the band in 2005. It's a well-constructed alternative ballad. It creates a clear visual. It makes sense. It's a good song. Honorable mention, I thought about putting Afraid here as it was the lead single, and for obvious reason, it's got a catchy ass hook. But I'm going with Shout 97. A cheap way out? Probably. But this is a cool updated version of a classic. I don't know if anybody else ever notices this, but when you get a compilation record, like a best of the 80s or a best of the 90s, 9 times out of 10, there's a little note that says re-recorded by the original artist. Yeah, those stink. This does not. It's a fresh take on a song everyone knows and is usually the way the band plays it live. At number 6, Theater of Pain, released June 24th, 1985. While it's surprising that an 80s album from the Crüe ranks this low on my list, especially since we haven't seen the 94 self-titled Corabi record yet, there is a reason. I think this is a fine record, but up against the previous 2 albums, like Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil, there's a considerable drop. And honestly, a lot of it is due to the track listing itself. Had they opened with Louder Than Hell, I think I would be more engaged. City Boy Blues feels like a side A closer or a closing track. Also, you could open with Smoking in the Boys' Room. A cover grabs someone's attention. A lot of filler here, but you can't deny the mass effect Home Sweet Home had. That's one of the major reasons why it's not lower on my list. Least favorite track. While musically it's pretty awesome, the consistent Tonight build gets old quick. Favorite track, Louder Than Hell. Heavy drums, squealing guitar, crunchy riff throughout, Vince is rockin', and this is Motley Crue. The chorus has that anthemic vibe even though it's simple. Honorable mention, Home Sweet Home. No fucking way. The piano is absolutely stunning. Vince sounds great, perfect vibrato undertone. It kicks absolute ass. Mick plays a killer solo. It's fantastic. There's a reason why this was the most requested song on MTV. They had to implement a limit on how many times a video could be played. This song rocks, even if you're a metalhead. At number 5, Motley Crue, or Motley 94. Released March 15th, 1994. Let me say this. Had this been released under any other name than Motley Crue, this would be held in a higher regard for me. Maybe Scream Crew or Motley Scream. I'm kidding. But then again, if it wasn't under the name Motley Crue, maybe I would have went my whole life without hearing it like a lot of you out there. This is an absolutely amazing album with great production and musicianship. Tommy's drums are hard-hitting, the lyrics are powerful from Nikki Sixx and John Corabi, who also just happened to be Vince Neil's replacement as lead vocalist on this record, but also he brought a new element to the band by sharing guitar duties with the already amazing Mick Mars. This album is a potpourri of styling while staying heavy throughout. Even a song like Misunderstood, which always reminded me of one of my personal favorite songs, House of Pain by Faster Pussycat, has a heavy-ass breakdown. I'm glad they took their time with this album, taking 10 months to complete it, but even a song like Love Shine, which gives me the vibe of the Black Crowes and Tesla having a baby. Originally, it was to be titled Till Death Do Us Part, a song that made the record. Kinda glad they didn't call it that, as with it being self-titled, it's kind of a bold move by saying this is Motley Crue. I absolutely love John Corabi's voice, and not only should you check this out, but also his previous band, The Scream, and later projects like Union and the Dead Daisies. Least favorite track? This is a tough one. It's such a good, underrated album. I can't stress that enough. But if I have to go with one, I'll go with Drift Away. Not a bad song at all, just gives me Cinderella vibes without being Cinderella, and I absolutely love Cinderella. Favorite track? Smoke the Sky. Love the heavy bass and drum combo. It's got you headbanging throughout, crunchy riffs from Corabi and Mick, aggressive driving track with a cool but short solo, heavy. Honorable mention, upon further review, I could put Drift Away here too. Cool song that just got lost in the shuffle, but I won't do that. I'll go with Living in the Know. Maybe the most Motley song on this entire record, and sounds like something that could have been on Dr. Feelgood 5 years prior. Number 4, Girls, Girls, Girls. Released 2 days after my birth, May 15th, 1987. It became Motley's third album in a row to sell a shit ton. Not an ass load, but a shit ton. Shout at the Devil, Theater of Pain, and now Girls, Girls, Girls selling 4 million apiece. That puts them in the running for the best three-peat of albums ever, at least albums sold-wise. Title track was a top 20 hit, peaking at number 12. More importantly, it was the first song I got a lap dance to. Could this be the reason why I was almost named after Tommy Lee, which was quickly nixed by my mom, who just so happened to take me to my first Motley show. This album, while heavier and better in my opinion than Theater of Pain, it still has its growing pains, just not many. Dancing on Glass and Bad Boy Boogie are underrated and fit the theme of the record. Nona, a song, or musical interlude, is about Nikki's grandmother. While I'm a fan of it, and I also love my grandmother who's passed, it's just not for this album. Pick it back up with a song like 5 Years Dead and you move on. All in the name of is what they call a bit of a rattlesnake. Love the bluesy inspired licks from Mick Mars, and as well as Something for Nothing, another bluesy tune. I'm a sucker for ballads and I love You're All I Need. However, it's a ballad, but it has metal intentions. And it was also a minor hit, peaking at 83. We end the album with Jailhouse Rock. I love this version. I love the version from Philadelphia on the Dr. Feelgood tour with Tom Kiefer, Sebastian Bach, and Snake Stabo from Skid Row. But this version is cool too. Very upbeat, fun, little solo, and crowd work is always fun. Wish bands still did shit like this, but they don't. I mean, they do covers still, but just not like this. Least favorite, Nona. Again, I like it. It's not even really a song. Like I said, the strip club is no place for grandma. Well, unless she's in debt and working the AM breakfast buffet F Troop. Favorite song? We are going hits here because, let's face it, they rule. As mentioned earlier, I love the title track. Not just for the explicit reasons. From the motorcycle opening, it's all killer. Plus, how many strip club names in this song did you want to check out? Honorable mention, Wild Side. I could flip-flop these two. Wild Side is just as awesome as Girls, Girls, Girls. I'll admit, every time I sing along to the line, Save the Blessings for the Final Ring, I put my hands together and praise the heavens for this amazing song. At number 3, Dr. Feelgood, released August 28th, 1989. Not only the only album that topped Billboard, but also the highest selling with 6 million, besting the previous 3 albums, Shout at the Devil, Theater of Pain, and Girls, 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 which all sold 4 million. It's widely regarded as their best album overall, and while it may have been at their peak, I believe in retrospect it's their third best album, being beat only by their first 2, which are heavier and a bit more rough around the edges, dare I say more Motley. While polished, the production of Bob Rock on this record, as well as guest appearances from artists like Steven Tyler, Bryan Adams, Robin Zander, Rick Nielsen, Jack Blades, and the guys from Skid Row. And that's just on the songs Sticky Sweet, Time for Change, and She Goes Down, with Tyler also on Slice of Your Pie and Jack Blades on background vocals on Same Old Situation, which was the fifth and final single released for the album, peaking at number 78. While it was a minor hit, its pop rock catchiness still remains to be a concert favorite and a personal favorite of myself. Other singles include, probably now one of the most well-known songs from the band, Kickstart My Heart, about Nicky's OD and brush with death, at 27, the part 2 of Too Young to Fall in Love, mid-tempo, Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away, at 19, the power ballad said to have been about Tommy and Heather Locklear's relationship and marriage, at the time written by Nicky and Mick, peaked at number 8, and of course the always memorable title track Dr. Feelgood, peaking at number 6. In all honesty, every song could have been a single on this album at this time in their career, and funny enough, I think Rattlesnake Shake, the only song I've yet to mention, could have been the next in line. Least favorite track, Time for Change. There isn't a bad song on this record, but with two ballads, I'm taking Without You over this one, so that makes it a bit easier to put this song in this spot, but it's a fine song. Favorite track? This is tough. First album I owned by the band and played it on a loop. I'm taking Same Old Situation.
Same old situation.
Maybe the most poppiest of the hits, maybe not, but close. I always love the video with the camera and the clear ball being passed around the crowd. This video could be the reason why I needed this album, because it's so catchy. Honorable mention, Dr. Feelgood, the title track. Popular choice, yes, but I think Kickstart would probably be the most popular, as it's in every commercial and every movie nowadays. Dr. Feelgood, with its Scarface storyline and Motley themed lyrics throughout, the guitar solo from Mick, his cool demonic voiceover during the breakdown, Tommy's huge drums, Vince just sounds that, it's just that classic Motley Crue sound, making this song an instant classic. At number 2, Too Fast for Love, the debut album from Motley Crue, released on November 10th, 1981 on the band's Leather Records, and August 20th, 1982 worldwide on Elektra Records. You can feel the drive and hunger of this young, unknown, off the Sunset Strip, that is, band. A perfect blend of hard rock, heavy metal, and punk. 6 months after their first show together at the Starwood, they go into the studio to record the original version on Leather Records. There would be remixes with the Elektra version, re-records, and eventually even dropping the first single, Stick to Your Guns, which is a shame because I really love that song. It's been re-released over the years, of course, on remastered versions of the album and on the box set Music to Crash Your Car 2 Volume 1. A re-recorded and shorter version of Toast to the Town. Also, the title track was shortened, taking away the first very cool, brooding first verse before Mick's now iconic guitar riff. You can still find the original version of Too Fast for Love. It's now known as Too Fast for Love Alternate Intro on the remastered version. You can find it either on physical media or Apple Music or Spotify. Overseen by Roy Thomas Baker, who's mostly well known for his work with Queen and The Cars, amongst other bands like Journey. This is back when the band was raw and gritty, before they were in the news every day, finding new ways to get themselves in the news like they are now. This is an album that I'd love to hear in full live, like they did with Dr. Feelgood a few years ago. And I think it could rejuvenate the band, maybe make Vince even want to sing a little harder. Least favorite track, I'll use the Leather Records version of this album to make my decision, because I consider that the album, because it's the original version. This is the way the band originally wanted it before record labels got involved other than their own. This is no cakewalk. It's hard. I love every song on this record. It could have easily been number 1, like I said before, but it gets beat out. Crüe heads love all these songs, to be fair, and it's really difficult. But I'm going to go with Starry Eyes here.
You gotta take the pain of a man in the streets.
Like I said, it's a good song. Every song on this album's great, and I know I'll probably get hate for saying it, but something's got to be at this spot. This is how I've done all these rankings, and I got to continue. But my favorite song from this album, obviously, it's Live Wire. It's what I consider to be Motley Crue's defining song. I know a lot of people think Kickstart is, but it's on every TV commercial, every movie. I think it's overdone. Live Wire, it's so raw and gritty and punk rock. There's not even a solo on it, but you don't even need it because Mick's guitar playing throughout is a guitar solo pretty much. The riff is a guitar solo. It's that good of a riff, you don't need a guitar solo. And Vince's voice is fucking amazing. Honorable mention, again, I could go with any of these songs. Like I said, they're all classics. They're all great. This album, again, I'm going to beat the dead horse. This album, again, could easily be number one, and tomorrow it could be number one on my list. I love On With The Show. That's my honorable mention. I think it's a great premise for a song, with Nicky changing his name to Nicky Six from Frank. As somebody with issues with their dad, I get it. His dad said, he didn't have a son at one point, and that kind of made his decision for him to change his name. The construction and build of the song is perfect. Tommy's unapologetic drumming, Mick, again, with the riffs that kill. Vince helps Nicky write this song, which is awesome, and you can tell in Vince's voice he actually cares about this song. It's a classic. I loved getting to hear it live several times. It's a classic. What else can I say? At number one, Shout at the Devil, released September 23rd, 1983. The band's sophomore album that just recently saw its 40th anniversary. We also just did a live podcast for that, so go back and watch it. This album was huge for the band. Not only did it break them into the mainstream, selling 200,000 copies in its first 2 weeks and peaking on Billboard at number 17. The album would eventually sell over 4 million records, their first of a string of 3 albums in a row that would do so. And with the re-release of it for the 40th, that total will only grow thanks to purists and collectors like myself who like to actually hold a physical copy, or several for that matter. The album also gave us Motley classics like the title track Looks That Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love, 10 Seconds to Love, and Red Hot. A cover of the Beatles' Helter Skelter, which is equally as awesome as the original, but gives it balls. Big balls. Of course, there are the songs Bastard, Knock 'Em Dead Kid, and even Danger, which Crüe heads know and love. But to the common fan, and even concert goer, if they were to even play those songs live, they wouldn't know them unless they had them, or a friend had them and played them, and they just kind of heard it in passing. Doesn't make them bad songs. In fact, Bastard and Knock 'Em Dead Kid are 2 of my personal favorites. The album was produced by Tom Werman, who would also produce the next 2 albums, Theater of Pain and Girls, 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 which I've talked about in the past. And they would also sell 4 million each. But Shout at the Devil is different. It's raw but polished. Still has an edge like Too Fast for Love, but with more radio-friendly sounding songs, poppy, and growth in production and song construction. Least favorite track, Danger. It's not bad at all. You know me by now. If I like a band, I'm not going to sit here and destroy them. But I have to pick something, as per usual. And on an album full of absolute monsters, I find this song to just simply be the weakest. It's not like I can just pick God Bless the Children of the Beast. Picking an instrumental is a cop-out. Favorite track, Too Young to Fall in Love. Drums kick it off. Sucks you in is that slide on the neck right before Mick starts the riff. Bam, bam. So badass. The riff itself is killer. While the video is like Mad Max meets Gremlins, the song itself shows that even while quote-unquote poppy, it has balls. Big balls, again. Honorable mention, this one is tough, as per usual, but I'm going with 10 Seconds to Love. Simple boom pop open, and then Vince kicks in. Here I come, But when he shouts, "You my 10-second pet!" Yeah! Followed by the pounding drums and the band kicks into gear. That's the standout moment for me, plus another great live track from the Crüe. Simple and fun.
No fucking way.